All right, we're back again with another episode of Roofer Reflections. I'm happy to have Shari here. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate that.
What stands out in your background when I first look at it is science background. Is that was one of your early interests?
Actually, I am an educator. I am more linguistics. So my field kind of took me into more of a marketing role. I was first introduced into business for advertising sales. So I did that for a few years, and that brought me into the auto industry, which I enjoyed for about 15 years, and started my own company during that time. And things kind of evolved and changed. That industry changed a lot, and one of my former clients, I used to write articles uh, for their automotive division, bought a company and said, "I need your help." I went and looked at it. It was a heat tool industry, and thought, well, this is really interesting, very technical. And I said, "That's really technical. I'm more of a creative person." He says, "No, just come and learn about it." And the more I learned about it, one of the biggest areas that they focused on with their products was construction. I didn't even know at that time there was such thing as a roofing specific industry. So I thought, wow, this is really interesting. So the more I learned about it, the more involved I got into it, and the more I grew to love it. So we always laugh at National Women in Roofing that you don't really pick roofing, it picks you. And I am testament to that. So it's just been a great industry to be a part of. I started off in the marketing aspect of it. As my desire to learn more and my wants and needs expanded, so did my opportunities to do different things. And that's been a real pleasure for me to be able to start things from the ground up, because that's what I really like to do. So each time I started a new program, whether it was from the automotive marketing to the architectural and roofing industry, it was to start something from the ground up that they hadn't done before. And I find it challenging and very rewarding. So as I started from sales of how to install and best practices, I went into safety and retrofitting roofs with architects and building owners, and how to make it safe for the people who go up there to work on it and keep the roof working in good conditions, so that they go home the same way that they came, in the same condition that they came at the end of the day as when they got there. And then took that to another level where I could still work with those design professionals, but for products that I felt were specifically good for the type of usage that we were looking at. And that at that point was single ply, low slope roofing, and specification driven work with that. It's been a lot of different things, but it's been a lot to learn. And it's been just so valuable that you can look back at every aspect of what you've done over the course of your career and say, that led into that, that led into that, and it all works together. And these are all things that you think about. Now you bring a perspective that's more than just, let me sell you this product. You know, we're not here to just sell products. We're here to create safety and resilience and long-term success for the person who is buying that product.
When you're starting in somewhere like auto and now you're in roofing, but you just realize there's so many carryover skills and new challenges that come with that. Sometimes people kind of sort of separate industries like that, but you know, it goes to show you that it could move in quite seamlessly in some regards.
And from the start, the real thing that was so evident is that both industries were male dominant industries, where there were very few women. And when I started, I was in my 20s. So I was the youngest person in the room, and I was the only woman in the room, and people were wondering what she's doing there. Right. And then a few years later, let's say 15 years later, we find ourselves in the roofing industry. We're embarking the same thing. So when there didn't used to be a lot of women on the roofs or managing companies or owning companies or CEOs, now we see a lot of that. And And it's kind of what I saw in automotive went into roofing, and we see a lot of growth and diversity there. And the beauty of that is there is a place for men and women to work successfully, and we can empower them to do that.
You've learned from the auto industry. You've taken some of those learnings into the roofing industry in terms of being the only woman in the room and having to adapt or do something different. What sort of strategies or things did you do to sort of break through that?
Well, I think in both instances, because when you're one of the first people to do that, you really, really work hard to make a difference. And that is learning as much as you can, learning more about it than what your fellow male sales counterpart would know. So you need to be content driven. You need to be looking at as a consulting perspective, what's best, not just what's going to sell, but what's going to be best for that person. So that when you lay that groundwork, they can come back and say, that's somebody you trust, right? And what that has done is it helps to build that career and builds your following there, that you create this network that people want to reach out to you, whether they're male, female, whether they're roofers or whether they're architects or whether they're engineers. You have to build that confidence. And for me, building that confidence and knowing as much as I could about the products that I was selling and what they did and how they affected everything from your pocketbook to your time management was really, really important to me. So being the best at what I was tasked to do was really, really important.
So at what point, like I say in the roofing industry, you felt like, okay, I'm turning the corner? Was there a certain moment, certain thing that you learned, or that you can remember where you thought, okay, I've kind of turned the corner?
It's really interesting. When I first would show up on a job site, and they'd look at me and they'd go, "What are you doing here?" We asked for a trainer, and they sent us Barbie, right? To a few years later, and it took a few years. Things are hard to change. Dynamics are hard to change. People mindset. But vice president of one of the roofing distributor groups had an issue on the roof, and I was in on the conversation, and the customer said, "You're sending a woman down here?" He goes, "Hey, look, she's a woman, but she knows her stuff." His vote of confidence for me really helped with that. So it's kind of like a left-handed compliment. You think you could take it from, well, that wasn't, she's a woman, but she knows her stuff. Or you could take it as, you know what, you might not be used to seeing a woman there, but have confidence. And to me, I looked at it from the positive standpoint of, maybe it was new to them, and it was new to people, but it's a step in the right direction.
For the next generation that's coming into roofing, what would you like to say to them?
The sky is the limit. Learn as much as you can. Be as helpful as you can. Our goal here is to make things better than they were when you came in today. Don't do it for the money. The money that's great, but do it for the passion of what it is that you're doing. Because if you do it because you have a passion for it, you'll enjoy it, you'll be successful at it, and it will be long-term. And we want people to stay here long-term, right? The whole world is changing. We want and need people to go into the trades. So a friend of mine started about 4 years ago a construction camp for girls, and she has a passion for it. And it's amazing. It's amazing. And you see more of them popping up around the country. So as we look at that, it's an opportunity for people to say, I've never done that before, but there's an opportunity for me to do that. And it opens, it opens the possibilities of things that we never thought we could do, but now we can. We will always need people there to fix things that are broken and to design things that can be better. And I think a combination of having both of those is a real winner for the future.